No, Smalls, you can go ahead and talk, Smalls. Go ahead, brother Small. Let me let.
Gather round, oh yeah. Think bigger, think bigger.
This is about life.
Life.
Real life.
No, Smalls, you can go ahead and talk, Smalls. Go ahead, brother Small. Let me let.
Can you hear me?
Yes, let brother Smalls talk.
Okay,
Go ahead, brother Smalls. We ain't gotta wait on Chris. Let's go. Let's talk about it. Come on, this is my spiritual father right here, y'all. Baba James Smalls.
no, I'm gonna be his uncle because he almost as old as me. So his wisdom is so up there. For
What happened?
my the clearest because I'm sitting in a car at a
Okay.
train station waiting for my wife. But you know that's my world. Um, but when we think, what area you want to become, we start with Carter G, who all of his work tells us that we're ignorant of truth. We're ignorant of history. We're ignorant of a knowledge of ourselves. And unless we correct that, you can forget about talking about freedom because you're just playing, you know? So he tells us that one of the biggest weapon the enemy has was that weapon that cuts you off from your history, cuts you off from your legacy, cuts you off from your ancestral truth. And if you don't restore that, you don't have the tools to fight him back. You know,
Mm,
you're just playing with his little stuff. You may sound good, but you don't know what the hell you're talking about.
yeah. And again, people don't even read his books. The Carl Nelson them say they was doing something for him because I was gonna go to DC and do it. I was gonna do something at his statue in Washington DC. I literally was gonna go to DC, but it's too cold out there.
Uh-huh. Yeah. So we need to study, and Sabir has all of Carter G's work. I have to get in his library so I can order the rest of these books.
In my library.
And when we talk about J.A. Rogers, he was so far ahead of the game. At the time, the concepts of race that he was projecting. Um, at the time, looking at us all over the world and our contributions to the world,
Mm-hmm.
um, people wasn't there yet. Matter of fact, a lot of people are not there now. And so we have to. What's the first one?
No color line.
Yeah.
These are all J.A. Rogers. All J.A. Rogers. Not even all of them. I just didn't even pull everything out. But these are all
Right.
J.A. Rogers works. All of
And
his.
so, and these are works you never had nobody quoting. You're the only one I hear really quoting them. I have a few quote Carter G.
Mm-hmm.
Mention him, not really quote them, because a lot of people haven't read the literature. They've looked at the literature and haven't read the literature. But the bottom line is it's the old adage: truth, know the truth, and the truth will set you free. Now it sounds like a Christian thing, but no, that don't come from Christianity. They just borrowed that. Okay, all of our history was about telling the truth. All right,
Mm-hmm.
truth in your music, truth in the dance, truth in your words, truth in your action. That's what that my art piece is about: being truth, living truth, being the result of truth. And so when you look at the history, especially of these two brothers, Carter G. Woodson and Jay Rogers, you're going to love. I mean, you're not going to love. I fell in love with and fell out the bed. My wife said, "What happened?" Because I was staying on the next floor because of my knee. When you watch Heavy is the Crown,
Yeah,
it
that
is going
documentary is
to
gonna be.
blow your mind. I
Yes.
didn't think anything. I'm up like I had to get up at 7. I'm up until 4 in the morning with my old butt watching this piece,
Uh-huh.
then going back over stuff. The graphics is off the charts. The methodology of how he does the social commentary is just beautifully done.
Okay. No, go ahead, Smalls. But you know what's funny? Like most people don't even know that that Heavy is the Crown, the way it's done, it's going to be, it topped a lot of documentaries, man. It topped a lot of documentaries, and it's going to be released. We're doing a show in Atlanta, and I believe New York also. But Chris is on his way down. I just got the message just now from his wife, so
Yeah.
I'm just.
Yo,
Yeah,
what's the deal? What's the deal?
What the deal, yo? You got the teacher and Smalls. What up, man? Hey, man, what was you doing, fam? I was waiting like 10 hours.
Yo, I'm so sorry. I was upstairs. Today I got a call from Dougie Fresh. So we was doing our thing. I'm getting ready to run down to Florida and shoot this video. First of all, wait, before I even start anything, yo, Smalls, what's up?
The last time I saw this brother, I don't even remember, but the first time I saw him, it was in your bedroom. Me and Dr. J came over to your house.
Wow.
How you doing? And you've
Yo,
been consistent.
it is so good to see your face. To see your face, that is so good right now.
Yo, we over here. We was just talking about J.A. Rogers and Carter G. Woodson, brother, and like I pulled out all J.A. Rogers works, bro.
J.A. was no joke, right?
No joke, brother. And J.A. Rogers, Carter G. Woodson, and I was just talking about Carter G. Woodson's book right here that I have. This one was 200.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's these people that people need to know about, and you need to get a couple of these books too. I'm gonna see if I can get it to you. I might come down. When you going to Florida?
The 22nd.
I might come down there. I might shoot down.
We'll come down, get in the video. What?
No doubt. Yeah, man. So we just want to get on here, man, and give, to mix up this, because someone actually gave the history of the against the protests, and the new one too. And the new album that's out. I say, damn, I can't even keep up with Chris, man. What's going on, fam?
It's IMAMCRU12, and it's one, it's each letter, an I, a M, a A, a M, a C, a R, a number 1, and a 2.
It's complicated, bro. Seriously, you got to make it that complicated, beloved. Seriously.
No, it's actually what I'm trying to do is show how we see reality, how we look at things. Like if you just look at my album title, it's gonna look like Imam Crew 12. And so you'll say, what the hell is Imam Crew? What is this word? And then you start to sound it out, and then when you realize IMAMCRU12, there's an opening to your awareness that instead of me just naming the album, between the protests or now hear this, so on, this album causes you to think before you even listen to the album. Before you even listen to it, this is going to catch your mind. You're going to have to adjust your mind to even approach this project. And that's what the project is really gearing toward, straight MCing, straight rhymes, just like that. Skill mastery is what I'm pointing toward. An old Booker T. Washington philosophy, about, he was criticized for it heavily, where Booker T would say, get your skills up, plant your shovel right where it is. Like Africans need to have skills. Like instead of asking for civil rights with no skill, first get the skill, then ask for the civil rights. He got blasted by W.E.B. Du Bois and stuff, but at the end of the day, we see that philosophy actually panned out. It's just panning out. It's like, we are vastly becoming a skillless people. Everyone is. Not just Black folk, but everyone. Technology is moving faster than the character of humanity, and it's like it's like that's what when they started taking God out of society. That's when science can't cure hate. You know what I'm saying? Science can't cure hate, emotions, feelings, these things. Science can't deal with that, and religion already lost the trust of the people. And so the only thing we really have left is philosophy, and that's kind of weak too. When you take a look at who they pushing as philosophers, that's kind of weak too. So where do our people go, really? Where do we really go? And this is it's funny. The only place to go is within.
That's what they say that. It's crazy because I don't know if you're familiar with Ibn Khaldun.
No, it ain't no.
Ibn Khaldun, he was a philosopher from Tunis. And you have Ibn Khaldun, Ibn Sina, and Averroes. You got Averroes was another one that was a philosopher too. He was from Spain. But these are Africans, and actually Ibn Khaldun was the father of modern day economics. And most people know about him. He wrote a book called the Muqaddimah, or volumes of books called the Muqaddimah. And I bought one when I was in Tunis, and it was called the Introduction to the Muqaddimah. It's called the Introduction. But it's like you said about the philosophy, and I'm looking at like philosophy is who are we looking at as philosophers? Also, it's not our people, and we had many philosophers amongst our own people.
Well, we're the first philosophers.
Yes, we are. Yup.
Come on, the first ones to talk was out of Africa, or out of the continent now called Africa. People forget that, we were never really a united people, Africans. I mean, we were united on various other levels, but not race. Race was the last thing. Your character, your bloodline, how you naturally responded to things. This is what defined you as a person. This is what it was. And we see today, us Black folk, African Americans, Africans in America, us, we forget that we are a bunch of different tribes. The 14% of us, we're all kinds of tribes meshed into one group called Negro. And so here we are in this one thing, but we realize that it's origin and evil use. I would debate that evil use part.
I know, but they explain that.
But no, that's another good book.
Let me into this a little bit so I can whip both of you up a bit.
You can whip us up.
African American is not a contradiction. One is a geopolitical space and one is a racial space. And you merge your geopolitical space and your racial space in order to have a base on which to fight. A guy comes from Nigeria, he says, I'm Nigerian American. Nigeria is his geopolitical space, and it's also his racial cultural space. Then America becomes his new geopolitical space, but it never becomes his racial, his culture, and his spiritual space. And so what we should call African tradition, I call it sacred science. Because what the European is calling science today, if you go all the way back to Kemet and before it to Kerma, what he's calling science, that's what we call sacred. We knew about the moon and the sun and the stars and the movement and the traveling. We knew how to make decisions, when to plant, when to fish, when to do the harvest. And we learned this from mastering a knowledge of nature. Our science, we gave them all of the science, and they even wrote it down. Plato wrote a piece he called Phaedrus, and this is their main boy. And in Phaedrus, he says, the Ethiopians, and even that was their word for Black folks, dark-skinned, brown people.
It was Cushites.
And he said, well, some people, they call us that too. But that's the names we can debate later, because that's a whole show.
Yeah.
But at least in their writing, they're talking about these people who were burnt and browned and baked in the sun, because they were stupid enough to think all they had to do is stay in Africa long enough and they become the same thing. But he said that the Africans have given, the Ethiopians have given to the world all of its sciences, and he names them. He says arithmetic, geometry. He goes on. He says medicine. And then the last one, which he says is the greatest science of all. This always reminds me of Sabir, because he's reading, researching, digging. He says the greatest science of all that the Ethiopians have given to the world is the science of writing itself. Now, he said this way back then, and these crackers are still acting stupid, like they didn't hear that. And then they said this is their main man, So for us, as we are digging up the truth, um, and we're listening to people like Ibn Battuta, Ibn Khaldun, we're listening to Carter G, we're listening to J.A. Rogers, because when we're reading them, we're listening to them. We're having a dialogue with those minds. This is their minds that's on the paper. So we're having a dialogue with their minds as they're looking at the situation we find ourselves in. And so we are not only multiple ethnic nations or tribal nations merged into one, we are the friggin' universe. Every atom that's in everything, every electron, every proton that is in everything is in us. An understanding of that merger is what we're missing. That's where we come to your philosophy, Chris. How do we regain the philosophy that explains this unity that makes us the universe?
Mm.
They have us reduced to we looking up in the sky for some dude, a white dude at that, with his finger pointing down and saying that's the divinity. But our
Yeah.
ancestors never saw divinity like that. They said the totality of existence, including you, makes up the divinity.
Mm. And that's what Chris
You know,
just said, within you. He just said that, within
Well,
you.
yeah, that's what I'm agreeing. So we have to find a
Professor,
way to explain that to people.
Professor Smalls, that you touched it right there. Thus, you're touching on a curriculum that is needed, a brand of knowledge that is needed. How do you return or even gain, that state of consciousness, the truth, so to speak? I'm thinking about George G.M. James's book Stolen Legacy right now.
Yeah.
Where in that he talks about the original concept of philosophy was the deification of the human, that you was able to rise from one level of existence, which was considered the animal level of existence, and you rose to a godlike existence. But as I did more research on that, I realized that what is so interesting about our condition here, and this is talking straight to what Professor Smalls was talking about in terms of how do you get there? How do you explain this now? Is that we're not even speaking the right language
Yes.
to even get to where we at. So we have to go beyond language and beyond words, but not really beyond language. There you go.
I gotta keep doing this, Chris. Like you